Greetings. I am Russ Hatfield. I am joined by my higher dimensional twin soul, Kara, behind my shoulder, who is a member of Ashtar Command. In May's editorial, we'll look at reality with a question on if it is the same one in which we started. It is called, Is This the Right Reality? You'd think it was an easy question, and so did we until we started writing. For a full transcript of this latest editorial, please go to our main homepage at HadesBasedNews.com. We invite you to subscribe to be kept informed of future postings on our YouTube channel from the members of Ashtar Command. And now we present, Is This the Right Reality? The tapestry of our lives rolls out in a pattern that is consistent where each moment fits into the next. Sometimes, though, the ends don't always meet, where maybe parallel realities get too close to one another. The result can be the unexplained, the supernatural, and mysterious happenings that we accept as being just part of life. You can see examples with deja vu and items disappearing and reappearing from the same spot like they just dropped through a hole. Some people change their lives entirely to try to achieve the feeling of belonging to this reality because it just doesn't feel quite right. Everything is there to be a great life, but they just seem out of place among strangers and even those they know. Then there are the very strange things that leave big question marks about whether or not you're in the same reality as everyone else. I experienced just such an example as a young man, all of about 9 or 10, and it revolves around Star Wars. It's hard to say if this actually happened because the memory is so fragmented and yet so clear in some places. My grandmother by 1970 had moved out to a retirement community called Sun City near Hemet, California. This meant that once or twice a year, my brother and I would be dropped off for a week to visit our grandparents. One time, just my grandmother and myself had gone shopping at a Rite Aid type of store. As we were passing a display case of books for sale, I had a minute or two to look them over as they all seemed to be from one author with similar cover art on each one. My recollection from then is that it seemed to be a space saga revolving around a young man named Luke Skywalker. There was Darth Vader and Wookiees, but George Lucas wouldn't write Star Wars for another 7 years. Memory is a tricky thing. That was my experience of feeling that my reality got switched out for another reality without my noticing. Then there are those who really feel the reality they end up in is the wrong one. Daily we hear of those born to one gender, yet do not feel a connection to it and feel best as the opposite gender. Their world needed more options to express themselves as they embrace the freedom to choose if there is an option to do so. Then there are tens of thousands of people every year experience a different reality in the form of a Renaissance fair. Others choose Civil War reenactments to change up their reality. Both groups changing into the costume of the day as well as the language from that period of history. It's only temporary, but they immerse themselves in another time when that reality may have been very much real to them. Almost everyone has to ask themselves sometimes, is this the reality they are supposed to be in when it seems like this one is lacking in a long-term solution to deal with the short-term decisions that upended our planet's climate. For those of us here in the States, the political dichotomy between ideals has never been greater. It seemed the rules of the reality of the past have been rewritten to make hostile discourse a go-to where once there was cooperation. It's easy to imagine a reality we should be living in since much of it is opposite of the one being experienced. Kara's reality on a higher dimension is the one we will be living in once we've learned the lessons required of the third dimension. For all its faults, this dimension is just what we need to move on from it someday. If patience and acceptance are the main takeaways from our experience in the third dimension, it would be hard to find a better place to learn how to become an expert at both. In love, light, and wisdom at one, Russ and Kara.